A weekly closure for Bitcoin above 28K could suggest something really bullish for Bitcoin. And let's also take a look what it means for altcoins. But at the moment, it's doing quite well. So Bitcoin is pumping quite a bit right now. It's sitting at $29.7 thousand right now. And we briefly touched 30K, of course, this week by the fake ETF news. Now, it's interesting, of course, to see that the pump got retraced as everybody eventually knew that it was fake news. But nevertheless, it is holding up quite well, to be honest. The pump keeps on continuing right here. And if we take a look at the weekly time frame, what I always say that above $28,000 is pretty bullish. Well, that's exactly where the bull market support band comes in. $28,000, and 97 extra dollars, 79 extra dollars. But to round it up, $28,000. If Bitcoin closes above the bull market support band, it's not only closing above the bull market support band, but it's also closing above this downtrend that we have been in since July. So that's for 4 months right now, 3 months. So that's really bullish that we break this uptrend and that we break the bull market support band. Plus, if we draw this line correctly, then we also break above or close above this horizontal right here, which is currently sitting at $29,343. If we manage to do that, then I would say the bull case for Bitcoin is really on. However, it's Thursday at the moment of recording and a lot could happen, of course. So it's Friday, by the way. Okay, a lot more bullish than I thought, but it's Friday. Bitcoin can change in a couple of minutes, let alone in 3 full days, of course. So we'll see what it brings. But the bull market support band is such a very important indicator. As you can see right here, for example, Bitcoin got rejected from the bull market support band basically every time from the moment the bear market started, and we got rejected by it all the time, and it drove us all the way down to 15.5K. Once we pumped above it and also closed above it, Bitcoin it went below it on wick base, but it never closed below it really until it got all the way to $32,000. So you'll see here, once we broke above it, Bitcoin pumped from 26.45, give or take, back to $32,000. Or we basically bounced right there. And since we got below it, we broke from 28.5 all the way back down to 24.8. So the bull market support band is the type of thing that could slap Bitcoin back to the downside, or it could push it all the way up to the upside. And now we're above it. But we always have wicks. Like here, we also had a big wick, and people were pretty scared and bearish right here. But at the end of the day, the wick happened from 22 all the way to 19, but it closed above it anyway, so it didn't really matter. This could always turn out to be a wick, right? So I see a lot of euphoricism, how do you call it? But treat it with cautious, I would say, because the week is definitely not over yet. On a daily basis, it is looking good because we had a green day yesterday and we have a green day today. So it's not that wicking right now. So looks pretty decent. Now, the bear case scenario, and I also want to talk about altcoins, but the bear case scenario, of course, is if this turns out to be a wick, and if Bitcoin closes below $28,000 this week, I would say it has a very strong chance to get back to 25 again. Okay, so and this doesn't change my thesis overall that Bitcoin will probably see lower prices later this year, beginning next year. But for the rest of the year, this could be pretty bullish, in my opinion. Now, we all know, of course, that this whole $30,000 to $32,000 level is quite a resistance. We see it over here in 2021, begin 2021 already. Bitcoin had a lot of support right there. We had these wicks, but they got bought up, wick bought up, wick bought up. So is super strong support. Also, when the bear market really started, we did have some, the bulls were fighting over here. Eventually, they lost the fight, as it's a bear market, and you don't want to be a bull in a bear market. But they showed some strength right there. Now we tried to break above this in April, but we got rejected. We tried to break above this in June, July, we got rejected, and now it looks like we are making a new effort to try right now. So we'll see what it does. What's quite interesting to me is that the S&P is going down. So it looks like Bitcoin and the S&P are at the moment not that correlated. Usually you could say like, well, if the S&P does this, then Bitcoin does that as well. And it was a little bit true. You know, Bitcoin topped out right here, and the S&P was still pumping. Bitcoin came down, and after that the S&P came down. Now the S&P is going down, but Bitcoin is going up quite hard. So yeah, I don't know. It's quite interesting to see how it's working a little bit different this time. Just some charts to check out. It's quite interesting that, let me block this noise right here. So this is the USDT dominance. So how much money is sitting in USDT. If you want a bull market, then you want people to not have their money in USDT, of course, but in crypto, right? In Bitcoin, altcoins, whatever. And it is like interesting that the USDT dominance is, of course, in a major uptrend for like, yeah, ever basically. But like you see right here in 2020, for example, this is really where the bull market started. This point, if we also overlay Bitcoin on this, it's interesting. You see that USDT dominance went down quite hard, and Bitcoin was in a raging bull market right here. Here as well, Bitcoin went up. USDT dominance went down quite hard. Now USDT dominance is going pretty much sideways for more than 1.5 years right now, and it's still, however, to defend the bears right here, it's still in an uptrend, right? We make, like, let me remove this to block out the noise. It still makes higher lows. It makes higher lows. You can also say that it has been making lower highs, though, right? But like, I don't know. I don't really think that these highs are that much, like, I don't see much strength in there, and the lower lows are definitely, or the higher lows are definitely showing strength. We'll see how this plays out. It's funny that this channel runs until April, give or take, and that's why we have the halving. Usually such a pattern breaks to the upside, but we can see it go to the downside, and that would be really bullish for Bitcoin if it just hovers around right here, and then until then does really nothing really, but from April or so really comes down a lot, right? That would be really bullish for Bitcoin. That would be really bullish for Bitcoin, because that would mean that the USDT dominance could go down around 35% from this point, which is funny that if you look in December, January, give or take, the USDT dominance went down with 27%, and that's where Bitcoin 2x'd, right? Now, if it goes down 35%, then you could say that the crypto market is gaining a lot more, right? Because, yeah, it's a high number. So it would make sense. It lines up quite perfectly with the halving. What's funny also is the dominance goes up still, right? So you can say whatever you want. The altcoin market, right, is going up a little bit as well. Like, it's not much really, but it had a pump this week of 2.7%, right? If you look at Bitcoin this week, it has a pump of 9.5%. So, you'll see some coins like Solana is doing quite well, I think. Let me go to Solana right here. Yeah, Solana, $27. Solana is doing very well, right? Came from 21 or so. Solana is up this week 23%. So Solana is one of those coins that's been outperforming, right? Outperforming Bitcoin, outperforming other altcoins on average, right? But overall, you see that if the altcoin market is like 2.5% up and Bitcoin is up 9.5%, you just know that the altcoin market is running behind on Bitcoin. And that's what we can see again in the Bitcoin dominance. The Bitcoin dominance is literally sitting at the yearly high as I record this right now. Yeah, and this is very scary for altcoins. This is very scary for altcoins because how I look at this is like what happened so far all the time. The Bitcoin dominance goes up while Bitcoin goes up, right? So altcoins, they go down on their Bitcoin pair. But when Bitcoin then has a small correction, the altcoin dominance does not go down as much as it went up. So altcoins overall, and again, Solana is now outperforming quite well. But if we look at a random list right here, this is, can I show you this? Yeah, wait, you don't need my face anyway. But you can see right here that I can show you, fuck that. But altcoins on their Bitcoin pair are basically all in the red. This is Cardano on its Bitcoin pair, right? It's red. It broke this major trend line right here, and it's not looking so good right now. While Cardano on the dollar pair is like, yeah, it's like up 1.7%, right? But on its Bitcoin pair, it's down. Therefore, I said for a long time, hey, just buy Bitcoin, right? Because now Bitcoin is up, and if you wanted to buy Cardano, I would not recommend you doing it now necessarily, but you can now buy it at the low. Cardano just made a cycle low on its Bitcoin pair as we speak. And a lot of altcoins is sitting at lows. AVAX currently sitting at lows. Dogecoin is sitting at lows or at around lows. Now it looks like it's sitting at the lows. DOT is down 8%, so that's already bleeding very hard. Ethereum is looking very bad. It's sitting basically at last support right now. And if Bitcoin has a small pump, if Bitcoin blasts through 30K, then altcoins are screwed. And yeah, what do I mean by that? Like people say all the time, like, yeah, but altcoins also go up on their dollar pair. Bro, you have to realize that if Bitcoin goes up a little bit right now, that the dominance goes up as well, right? As what we've seen right now. So, for example, Ethereum and all these other altcoins, but especially Ethereum, is going down on its Bitcoin pair. So that support is already lost, right? Then, when Bitcoin finally has a correction, because yeah, it's never up only, of course, then this support is already gone, and then we see that these altcoins will crash on their dollar pair, right? So what Bitcoin is doing right now is making people believe that the altcoin market is doing well, and with the first real Bitcoin correction, altcoins are gonna get fucked. That's kind of what's happening all the time, but on a small scale. But I wonder how small the scale is going to be as the dominance is really blasting through this resistance right now. So I don't know. It's gonna be pretty. It's gonna be exciting for altcoins soon. Yeah, no, like Gala making new lows, Illuvium heading towards new lows, IMX making new lows and kind of looks like it's on its way to break this downwards trend line as well. Chainlink had some room because it had a good breakout, but yeah, still, like if you look at these kind of charts, then you can always say like, hey, it's going to do something like this, right? Where it finds resistance, 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 breaks out, everybody euphoric, and then just does something like this. So it doesn't necessarily mean a lot. Litecoin made new lows. Matic, oh my fucking lord, yeah. Matic is also one of the coins that's going to get completely fucking wrecked if Bitcoin decides to have a good pump and then retrace, because that would mean, again, Matic gets taken off of its Bitcoin support. And then when Bitcoin goes down, it might find resistance right here, but then it's fucked, right? Like there is nothing here basically. Well, Matic on its Ethereum pair is already screwed. Volker Forge making way lower lows right now. Quant has lost it. Like I love Quant, but I never really spoke about Quant. As the price was never attractive, and people always said on Twitter as well, like, yeah, Quant is going to $4,000, this and that. It's in a big ass downtrend, so I don't know why that's relevant. But then it's Bitcoin pair. Yeah, this was my place that I would say that I said before, like, yeah, let's watch and see how this plays out, right? Because if it really finds support right here, then it's interesting. But as you can see right now, it breaks, and from that point on its Bitcoin pair, it's now already down 11%, and we're not nearly where I think we're going. So if Quant decides to go down with another, well, at least 17%, but probably 36% or so on its Bitcoin pair, but Bitcoin also has a correction at some point, yeah, then you can only imagine how Quant is going to look like on its dollar pair, right? We can get it twice as cheap probably. Therefore, I'm not that interested in buying it right now. See the file on its Bitcoin pair. Sitting at lows right now, so also not looking good. Solana is doing well. Solana is one of there are always coins that do something a little bit different right now, and Solana is definitely showing strength. But you have to realize it's also because Solana got wrecked with 89% before, and yeah, like a lot of coins got wrecked quite hard. But for example, Cardano, 86%. And you might say like, yeah, 86, 89%. Yeah, from this top, it's quite different. If Solana would have got wrecked with 89%, it was already sitting at 670 Satoshis, right? It's quite lower than where we are right now. It means from this point, it still has to drop another 20%. So Solana is doing well, but it's only because it got wrecked harder than the average altcoin as well, and therefore the bounces are also bigger. Superverse project that I really like, but the chart says like get out, or at least don't get out if you were in necessarily, but don't get in right now. Like that doesn't make sense at all. Ultra, good project, new lows this week. Veracity had a good pump, but it looks basically like it's just retracing all of these gains right now. And that, yeah, therefore I said like this market is tricky, right? Bitcoin pumps a little bit, or Bitcoin pumps quite a lot, 9%, 10% on the week is quite decent. Altcoins go up a little bit with it, but yeah, on the other end, if you look at this chart, like haven't we seen this basically every 2 or 3 weeks for the last like 2 years? Like these small things, we have them everywhere, right? And at the end of the day, they all resulted in lower highs. But yeah, it gets people into the market again, and it shakes people out of. So my what I'm saying right here is don't get fooled. Don't look at altcoins pumping maybe a little bit and think like, oh, it's a good time to get in. You will get wrecked with your altcoins 100%. This is so written. This is easy to predict, really. What also, why I have these circles right here. Well, what stood out to me is this, that if you overlay Bitcoin on this is also another kind of thing to look like, hey, why the fuck would we buy altcoins right now? It's because of this, right? While look, Bitcoin pumped from 16K, right, now to, let's say, 30K, right? What did the altcoin market do? From that same point, that 16K right here, the altcoin market is sitting at the exact same level. So yeah, that you can say a lot about that. You can have a lot of conclusions. But how I look at it is, while Bitcoin 2x'd, the altcoin market did nothing, right? So even if Bitcoin goes up, altcoins don't give a fuck. They don't go up with Bitcoin. Why? Because it's altcoin money that's been put in Bitcoin that makes Bitcoin go up in the first place. No new money is coming into the market because no new people are coming into the market. So that's one. But also, two, therefore, it's better to just buy Bitcoin because all these altcoins are now down on their Bitcoin pair. And that's what you can see with the dominance, right? If you look at the dominance right now, yeah, that went up in that same time period. So, yeah, I got a lot of shit for this strategy right here. I hope people now can kind of see why I've been saying this for such a long time. But yeah, it's not looking that good. If you look at altcoins on their Bitcoin pair, yeah, what else is there to say than big ass downtrend, right? Also, we had a major distribution phase over here, and now the downtrend has started. So this is the total 3 without stables, without USDT on the Bitcoin pair, basically. So if you look at, for example, Quant Bitcoin, Forge Bitcoin, Dot Bitcoin, Doge, every altcoin, it's all in here. These are every one of them. So yeah, you can always say like, yeah, well, my altcoin went up. Well, your altcoin is included in this one, and this is still going down. So on average, altcoins are just crashing against Bitcoin. Yeah, and it's funny, right? Like we had this, we went down, we bounced at a certain point. Here we have some support, right? And here we have some resistance. We bounced, went up a little bit, and now we're approaching that level again, basically. So yeah, it looks to me like, yeah, we're gonna break this eventually. That would take the dominance higher. And then altcoins are probably going down around this region, and this is where I will convert my Bitcoin into altcoins. I hope it just happens fast, man, because like I've been saying this for a year right now, and my content is boring right now. I know, but the market is boring, to be honest. Bitcoin is going up. Altcoins on the dollar pair are on average doing nothing for the last 1.5 years. Altcoins on the Bitcoin pair are just crashing. So you should not buy altcoins, and you should just DCA in Bitcoin. That's basically everything I have to say. And it keeps on going until we are here, in my opinion. It just keeps on going. And when could we get there? Yeah, I don't know. Look, I mean, if we look at last cycle, we did the exact same thing, basically. We went all the way down. We found support right here, had a small bounce, and we broke it anyway. And then so it's kind of the same. From the moment we broke this, it took us about like, yeah, it depends on how you look at it, 6, 12 weeks. So let's say 2, 3 months. I think we could get there here at the end of the year. End of the year, beginning next year. That's when I think it's time to start DCAing into altcoins. But once it is end of the year, beginning next year, you don't have to tell me like, oh, so you're now DCAing in altcoins. Nah, just pop up this chart and verify if it actually went down here. If it is, then, so I'm not looking on when. I just look at this chart. This is the only chart I need to invest in crypto, basically. The only one. Yeah, that's just not looking so good. This is this is the Bitcoin dominance without stable coins, by the way. And look, I remember that like what's so funny, right? About people in crypto and that are bullish on altcoins. Look, for example, at Kaspa. Okay, look at Kaspa. People are really bullish on Kaspa. Why? Because, to be honest, most people don't even know what it is. They just see a chart that's doing, very well in this market. Then you get bullish, right? I understand, definitely. But people got very bullish on Kaspa. Maybe we can just refit the line. No, still fucked up. Okay, but people are really bullish on Kaspa because this chart looks like this, like up, 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 up. Cool. But if you look at the dominance, it's been up, 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 up like that as well. So why are people not bullish on this? And if you're bullish on this, that means you are bearish on alts, right? But this chart is like Kaspa, but for even longer, right? So yeah, I don't know. It's above the bull market support band for the entire year, basically, and it's really up a lot. So even if the Bitcoin dominance goes down without stables, then in this case to around 56 points, 56.5 or so, it's nothing else than a higher low, and it could easily be another retest like we did all the time, right? It doesn't have to look like this, right? It doesn't, right? It showed you for the last year, basically, well, like last 2 years, that it's slow and steady, low lows, low high, or high lows, high highs. And at the end of the day, we will get there. So yeah, this chart is insanely bullish, and yeah, if you agree, then you know that that's like good for Bitcoin and bad for altcoins. Is there anything else that we haven't really talked about in this one? Yeah, fucked up. Like I can click an alt. This is BNB on the Bitcoin pair, by the way. But fucked up. Like fucked up. Really, demonetizing kind of fucked up. Do you hear that, YouTube? Fucked up. No, it's really like, it's not looking so good. The fucking making highs after highs after highs. It could be that it breaks this point right now, right? We have a lot of resistance over here. So I don't know, maybe. But yeah, no, BNB as well. Like, it's sitting at 214. Like, Bitcoin is really bullish, and BNB doesn't even tries to get out of this area where it has to get out, because BNB is gonna get slapped down. Mark my words. The worst for altcoins in this bear market is yet to come. Okay, and I am like not talking about. Let me pop up a random altcoin right here on its dollar pair. So let me show you this. AVAX, right? People could say the worst is this, down hard. But after a couple of weeks, you at least know what you're up against, right? In my opinion and in my experience, the hardest part is this slow market where it shows a little more strength than just like here, it just got completely wrecked, right? There's no strength at all. But at least there, everybody agrees like, okay, let's not buy altcoins. This part of the market makes people believe that they should buy altcoins because, oh, it's so low right now, and oh, it shows a little bounce here and there. That gets people into the market, but it's still going down. So that's even where people lose more money because they put more money in. And then at the last phase of the altcoin wreck fest, it just does something like this, a blah. And that's where everybody's broke in an instant because they were dollar costing and they thought they were smart. They get completely wrecked. And then it's finally time to finally turn the market around. That's, in my opinion, yet to happen. Because like BNB, for example, is the chart that says so, right? BNB on its Bitcoin pair, it cannot use one little Bitcoin dominance pump anymore, or it goes down quite hard because there is not a lot of support. So it could easily go down 35%, right? If that happens while Bitcoin does not go down, but stays where it is right now, then it's already sitting here, $140. So it's already in the middle of, like, there's nothing when it comes to support there. So if Bitcoin also goes down a little bit, yeah, BNB is easily screwed. And this goes for a lot of altcoins. And this is exactly the same kind of run-up that happened here as well in like June 2019 or something, right? Give or take, right? Because what happened there, also the Bitcoin dominance, June 2019 here, went up while Bitcoin was going up, right? But what happened after that? Bitcoin went down hard. And that's where altcoins got diminished, like decimated, destroyed. And this is where everybody left. And that's where the new cycle started. So, ladies and gentlemen, sorry again for, hey, there's a pump. Maybe Fomotion is finally bullish now. No! Watch out! This is fucked up. But yeah, no, I really hope that you are careful. Maybe I'm wrong, though. I mean, yeah, could be. But I've seen this play out earlier. And this, like, I'm not falling for this. I'm not falling for this. So please be careful, guys. If you want to see a lot of exclusive videos, exclusive content, my portfolio, how I'm playing the market, podcasts, early calls, NFT calls, personal consulting, etc., check out the Patreon. There is a link down below where you can chat with me in a private Discord, and there is a lot of interesting information right there. You will be unwreckable if you are there. So yeah, check it out. See you guys soon. Bye.